This man totally exposes NASA and all the astronauts. They are all lunatics. Space is all based in science fiction. They build rockets thinking they can travel to imaginary worlds. Take a listen to what he has to say.
Next, William Burroughs, author of This New Ocean, The Story of the First Space Age. It's a book on the history of space exploration, from ancient myths to German V-2 rockets.
Mr. Burroughs is a professor of journalism at New York University and the founder and director of its graduate science and environmental reporting program. Would you please welcome William Burroughs?
Thank you, Judy, and thank everybody for being here. One of the things that runs through the entire history of the space age and before the space age is the direct relation between science and science fiction. You're not at this too long when you don't come to understand that it's the science fiction people, the SF people, as one of my friends calls them, who laid the blueprint for the people who actually built the rockets and planned out the programs. And I did a fair amount of thinking about that throughout the entire process. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, who was the great Russian rocketeer and the father of rocketry, and who we never heard about during the Cold War for reasons that will not mystify you. Tsiolkovsky and Hermann Oberth, the German, the father of rocketry there, and our own Robert Goddard, all read Jules Verne. They all read From the Earth to the Moon, and they all had, if you'll pardon the expression, had their fires lit by that wonderful voyage. They all read H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds, and so on. These people were energized and captivated by science fiction. I started the book off, in fact, going back to Daedalus, because I had to come to grips with why exactly do we do this. There are cynical answers, and they're relevant. One is that corporations in aerospace want to make a lot of money. Another is a lot of generals on both sides wanted to get the high ground for a supposed advantage, whatever that meant, and we're still not sure we know. But beneath that, there were the dreamers, there were the sci-fi people, there were the people who wanted to go for what reason? This is what I had to try to come to grips with, and when I went back to Daedalus, when I went back to Greek mythology, it occurred to me that one of the reasons is transcendence. I came to realize in the course of researching the book that what I was dealing with was not in reality, was not hard-nosed businessmen who were trying to keep their stocks up and generals who were trying to one-up the enemy. What I was dealing with was members of a religion. And that's exactly what this undertaking is. What else to call people, I'm talking about serious engineers who design colonies on Mars and interstellar missions that they know they will never live to see? What else to call them but members of a religion as people in the Middle Ages started to build cathedrals they knew they would never see finished? And what is the trait that has propelled this all of these years? That's what I got into, and the rest of it is the top of the proverbial iceberg.
So this is how the movies show us the truth.
Breaking news, Indian moon lander under attack by space invaders' forces.
So let's take a look at the parts. Waters above and below the heavens. Genesis 1:6, God said, "Let there be an expanse." Some translations have firmament. It's rakia in Hebrew. "In the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters, And God made the expanse, the rakiach, and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And what was that expanse called? Heaven. The heavens, the sky, Shemayim in Hebrew. So you have here the sky. Okay, and you have waters above the sky, and of course you've got waters below down here, but then you have the atmospheric heavens as well. Psalm 148 mentions the waters that are above the heavens. That's after the flood. Did you catch that? Because a lot of people want to say, oh, the waters above, they went away with the flood. See, the firmament was this canopy thing, and it was there, and then the flood, it just went away. And no, it wasn't. According to the psalmist, he's still referring to it. Proverbs 8, when he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep. Isn't that interesting? We'll get to that. Circle on the face of the deep. When he made firm the skies above. Made firm is amatz in Hebrew. It is the same verb for letting a tree grow firm, hard. Ancient cosmology across the board believed that the sky was this dome over the earth, and it was solid. Kind of like the Truman Show. Okay? They believed that the stars were affixed to it. Some of the stars never moved, but other ones did. And the ones that did, this is why the word stars is attributed to the sons of God and to angels in biblical literature. They believed that the stars were animate beings, that they were really divine beings, and then they'd come to earth as angels, but they lived up there. And those were the ones that moved. Why? Because movement shows what? If something moves, it's alive. Okay? They believe that this is there's a solid expanse over them. Another passage. Job 37, verse 18. Can you, like him, speaking of Job, can you, like him, spread out the skies hard, kazak, hard as cast metal? Mutsak, as a metal mirror. Mutsak is the same word used in the casting of the laver, the tabernacle where they would wash. It's solid. It's also the same terminology used for flint rock. Again, these passages point to the belief that there's a dome, the sky's a dome, and it's solid. And God lives above it. We live below it.
I don't know how any other way to say it, and I'm not trying to be harsh here, but there are a lot of pretenders who talk about, cuneiform texts and ancient languages and stuff like that, and they don't know any of it. They never took it. They never studied it. They wouldn't know the first thing about it. They couldn't give you the alphabet for any of it, but yet they're the experts. Well, I like to say I am what these people pretend to be. Okay, this is my area, and so I say that. You shouldn't be lying to people. You shouldn't be making stuff up. It not only deceives people, but it dishonors the ancient people that produced this material. And they wrote not to be misunderstood, not to be a tool of manipulation, but because they had certain things they wanted to communicate.
Oh my goodness, I love this question. I think.
Let's talk about this. Many intellectual globers will quote Aristophanes and his experiments in Alexandria as proof that the world was globed. And I'm always like, how, Sway? I guarantee you what Aristophanes witnessed was something similar to a sundial. By measuring the movement and the length of a shadow and knowing the distance between two cities, he then used these distances to surmise the radius of the face of the earth. He then used the formula of pi r squared to determine the circumference of the earth based on those numbers. This is the beginning of NASA. He's imagining the radius of something that he cannot possibly measure. And then by focusing on the magic of the numbers, he convinced us that he knew how big the earth was. You don't see the problem with this?
If a guy named Eratosthenes has ever existed, for sure he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. For Christ's sake, Who has ever seen the sun rays coming down parallel? Perhaps that crackpot head named Eratosthenes had smoked a couple joints and saw sun rays coming down like this. If this guy ever existed, the only thing he proved is that the sun is small and local. This is how we observe sun rays. They spread out because it comes from a relatively small light source compared to the size of the Earth. Remember, the sun was created on the fourth day. As one of the luminaries, Earth is the center of God's creation, and not the sun. If a globe-tard can't think this thing through, there is no hope for humanity. No wonder they want to get rid of 80% of the population. It's not even that hard. All they have to do is to fabricate some poison and name it a jab. And globe-tards go running to take it. They basically want to get rid of 80% of their entire population of zombies, who believe that the Earth is a spinning ball in space.
Got some interesting comments on the water video, the physics of water. Water does have a T in it, but when you're from Lancashire, you forget about the T. So the physics of water. Yeah, people say I'm retarded, I'm stupid, need to go back to school, need to educate myself. How can anyone be so dumb to believe that the Earth is flat? But as I've said before, all I'm doing is deprogramming myself. It doesn't feel like we're spinning or moving, so why should I believe them when they come up with a theory or an equation that, you know, proves that we do? It doesn't look like the sun is 93 million miles away. It looks like it's the same size as the moon, and it's contained within some sort of firmament as it's described in the Bible, and the celestial bodies move around us while we're still and stationary on the Earth. That's what it looks like, that's what it feels like. So why can't I explore and do my own research and come to my own conclusions? We're living in a world of lies and deception, so you think they're going to tell the truth about the Earth and the shape of the Earth and the reality that we're living in? Lies control people, truth sets them free.
We are talking about flat Earth. Okay, so this is the June solstice. The white represents the sun's position in his respective months at noon. This shows sunlight inside the Arctic Circle for 24 hours. From June 21st, the sun moves round the tropics in a spiral circle, widening every day until it reaches its destiny on the southern or outer solstice on December 21st. Okay, the December solstice. On December 21st, the sun moves round the Tropic of Capricorn and during the day lights up the southern portions of the Earth from the Arctic Circle to some portion of Antarctica ice. There is no quote-unquote sunlight beyond 80 degrees south, but unknown regions of ice. On the 23rd of December, the sun commences his northward journey again, returning to his starting place and thus completes his seasons. So here we have the flat Earth map, and I have a little flashlight here that I'm shining on the screen to like represent the sun. And so you can kind of, it's kind of challenging here, but you can kind of get the idea. So that's kind of how it goes. And then, so north is in the center. And this, we all know that the strongest magnetic force is in the center, or what is called the North Pole. So south is all the way around the edges here. So that is why a compass always points north. Like no matter where you are in the world, a compass is always going to point north. It's the strongest magnetic force, and it gets weaker as you get towards the south. And this is also why people who describe that they go all the way around the world in the same direction on an airplane, they end up back at the same place, because when you go east to west, that is what happens. Okay guys, I wanted to show you this image. What are we looking at? So we are looking at a image put out by NASA of the globe Earth, and it is mirrored. This is a mirrored image of the globe. Now, if you look over here, this is who the people who are the NASA people, this is who they worship. This is Baphomet. He's a representation of Lucifer. So, can you guys see that? Isn't that interesting? Oh, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. So when I saw that image, you guys, I was like, what? It's all true, you know, it really starts to open your eyes. You really start to see. And I just encourage you guys to keep searching for truth. It's out there, but it's not front and center. It's the lies that are front and center. It's the deception that they all want us to believe, take control over our minds. And ultimately, all of this stuff, like the reasoning behind like why they would lie about all this stuff is because they want to keep you from God. They want to keep you from the truth. That's the whole mission of Lucifer, to kill, steal, and destroy. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he is the father of lies. And he's evil. And when you get your eyes open to the evil and all of that, it is, you have to wake up to truth, you know, and realize that it's a spiritual battle for your soul. You know, you're important. You are valuable. And there's a war going on for your mind. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And, you know, if Satan can deceive you and trick you and take over your mind and keep you from the truth and from God, he's going to do that. That's his whole entire mission on this world. So if you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, then I encourage you to start seeking.
Human beings are some of the most ignorant people to exist. I swear to God, and it's embarrassing. They got people who actually believe that the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and circling the sun at 66,000 miles per hour while chasing it at 1,000,000 miles per hour through space. And they don't feel nothing. They also believe that oceans are sticking to it while it's doing all this spinning. The funny part is get this, they believe that there's people on the other side of the world that are hanging upside down, but they're not upside down because they're standing up, but they're upside down. I mean, it's funny as hell. They have no brains. They believe that there's people on the ISS, right, free falling at 17,000 miles per hour through space around the earth all day long, and they're on top of it working. Like, this shit is so funny. And they show cameras and shit, and it looks like they're sitting still, but somehow they're going 17,000 miles per hour. I mean, you gotta seriously laugh at it, because that's what it is. It's dumb. And these people are conspiracy theorists. They got a conspiracy theory for everything. They explain away all their ridiculousness with conspiracy theories. They got theory of relativity, theory of gravity, Big Bang theory, evolution theory. All these theories to back up their claim that's so ridiculous that you gotta laugh at it. I mean, it's so funny. These people, and then they have the right to call us conspiracy theorists. They think that we're actually conspiracy theorists because we believe what we see and what we feel. We feel motionless and the earth looks flat. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. But we're conspiracy theorists. They're the ones that believe in conspiracies.
The flat earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer, Al-Biruni, who lived between 975 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but I would greatly appreciate if you can order it from my store. Unfortunately, people make bad decisions influenced by government propaganda on TV. I had asked my two sisters in Brazil not to take my parents to take the jab, and fortunately, not only did they take my parents to take the jab, but they took it themselves and their families. Now they are all sick and are asking me for financial help. I cannot undo what they did to themselves, but I need to help my parents who now depend on a nurse to take care of them. All the proceeds from sales will be used for this purpose. I humbly thank you.